Hi, I'm Dan Yost from Just Records, and this is Mixdown Mondays. This week we're excited to share a little bit more new gear that we got for the studio, stuff that we're putting on our mix bus, and well, without further ado, let's get to it. So we're adding a stereo mix bus EQ to our mixing chain. This is going to provide some outboard processing to really kind of sweeten the songs that we're working on in the mix it down process or mastering process. And after a lot of research of what to get, I mean, there's all different kinds of stereo EQs out there. There's rack units, there's 500 series units, there's all different brands from Dangerous Music to Elysia to Manley. The list just goes on. But we decided to go with something that's going to be a little bit more unique, that we can offer just a little bit of a different characteristic than some of our fellow studios. I went with Elysia. They care about my music. And I decided to go with a 500 series unit, mostly because of space. Now, what a 500 series unit is essentially a smaller footprint of a larger rack-mounted unit. And due to some of the space constraints, there are different wirings, so to speak, different schematics than what you would find in maybe, let's say, a rack unit. Maybe some rack units would have a transistor tube in it, whereas a 500 series wouldn't have the space for that, but does allow for the exact same processing, maybe just done in more solid state fashion. Now, this thing is deceptively lightweight. I don't want to drop it. And there she is. This is a 500 series stereo EQ. This is the XFILTER 500. Now, for a unit like this to operate properly, it needs to have a chassis or housing so that the power and the cable distribution is correctly aligned with this. And there's a lot of different chassis out there, everything from like the API lunchbox to Radial. They all have fantastic products, but I wanted to get something a little bit different as well, but also have the characteristics I was looking for in a 500 series chassis. Now this has some weight to it. I went with none other than a product designed and made by the company started and founded by the late, great Rupert Neve. Rupert Neve Designs 500 series chassis. The reason I went with this one is pretty simple when it comes down to it. For one, it's a Neve Designs. Two, I liked that the power supply is an ICE standard cable, not a proprietary power supply. I also, since, like I mentioned in a previous video about cables, most of our cabling here is D-sub, or what you might find in like a computer printer. It's all D-sub, and mostly all on the back end is Mugami. And that's what this offers as well. It has D-sub connections right here, ins and outs. And while it has 6 slots for 500 series products, it does offer XLR 7th and 8th spot. So as the studio grows, when we add more or wanted to add different gear, we can expand on this as well. Let's hook it up and play with it. So this thing is super cool. It's very subtle. So it's going to be used, like I said, on my mix bus. I might use it in some instances where I'm recording a stereo instrument, whether it's guitar or things of that nature. Just kind of give it some shine, gives it some shimmer. And we're going to use it for some episodes in the future of doing some shootouts and some examples of how we use it in our sessions. Thank you for letting me share this with you. I appreciate you watching. This has been Mixdown Mondays.